If you're a long-time Carnival skeptic, like we were, or a first-time Carnival cruiser trying to decide if it's worth booking, this honest Carnival Jubilee cruise review is for you.
Hi y'all, I'm Jeff.
And I'm Becky.
And together we're cruising a good time. Ever since those terrible stories about the poop cruise all those years ago and all the fighting on Carnival, we have completely avoided them. In fact, we've been on 7 different cruise lines and over 35 different cruises since we cruised Carnival last.
But we have run into so many loyal Carnival fans, and Carnival offers these great options out of Galveston, Texas, so we decided to give them another chance. And if you're going to give them a chance, give it to them on their newest, grandest cruise ship, the Jubilee. It's their flagship, and it's of their Excel class.
And in this honest Carnival review, we're going to give you the complete lowdown on whether or not we would do it again, if our fears were substantiated, and what we found out and what we liked and didn't like about the Carnival ship.
We'll try to give you all the information you need for you to decide if Carnival is right for you.
If you're new to the channel, be sure to check out our other videos. We have a whole playlist on Western Caribbean cruises with all the ports that the Carnival Jubilee will call out.
So our cruise went to Isla Tropical, Costa Maya, and Cozumel. We have already released our video on Isla Tropical because they've made a lot of changes to this island, so we give you all the updates.
So first of all, let's talk about the embarkation at Galveston. And Galveston's an easy port to embark from. It's real convenient to Houston, obviously, and a lot of airports. Here's a little hint. If you're driving down to Galveston to get on the ship, sign up with Galveston Wharves on their website for coupons because they issue a coupon by email all the time and save you a couple bucks that way. Unfortunately, in this time when we got on, it was the longest line we sat on the whole cruise. We were in line for about an hour to get on this cruise ship. I mean, it was moving, but it was just kind of frustrating about how long it took.
Yeah, once we got in the terminal, things went much better than when you were outside, and it was a very big group of people.
Yep.
Next, let's talk about the ship. It was a beautiful ship. I really loved the colors. I loved the motif. It gave you a good feeling to be inside of it. And those signature class places on the ship, those were really nice.
And one of the main ones is the center stage right there at midship. It covers 3 different decks. It's a theater, but they use it for so much more. They'll have some kids programs there in their day. They did the bingo in there during the day. Every time I walked by there, they're doing something. They had some concerts that night and game shows, all sorts of stuff going on. The sound was good. It was reasonably easy to get a seat, and all the seats seemed to have a pretty good view.
Yes, that was a very cool and different from most cruise ships. I really liked that part.
It was really unique.
And I really like Currents. So Currents is over there by the Dr. PhD bar, which is a special bar that is only on Carnival Jubilee. It's also near Emerald's Bistro. They have lots of different activities that go on in this area. It's pretty hopping. It's neat that they have all these different screens that you can go up and you can change what comes across the ceiling, etc. A lot of people had fun with that. And the Dr. PhD bar is supposed to have amazing drinks, but it is so busy all the time. So our tip is go up to the bar 1 story up. It's just outside Fahrenheit 555. And they make terrific drinks. And then you can still see all the action going on in Currents, enjoy the atmosphere, and it's the perfect place to get a drink before you head to the main dining room.
Yeah. So one thing I liked were there's a lot of places that was real convenient to get some food on board. So they had a lot of places on deck 8 where you're kind of hanging out a lot on inside and outside of the ship. And then they had on deck 16, which is the Lido deck by the pool, and 17 right above that. There's a lot of places to get some food.
Yeah, and they were so terrific, like Shaq's Big Chicken and Guy's Burger and the pizza place and sandwiches. Anyway, plethora of different things that were easy to get to and then get into the sunshine and be able to watch the sea while you enjoy a light meal. I love to swim, so having good pools on a cruise ship is very important to me. And this ship did have a lot of pools. So on deck 8, they had a small pool on both sides of the ship and an aft pool. And on deck 16, they had the beach pool and another aft pool. And then on deck 18, they had the Serenity pool. And the Serenity pool is adults only. Now there's also a lot of hot tubs. And for the hot tubs, boy, the children seemed to love them. And there were so many kids in the hot tubs. In fact, once I saw all these children running around in a circle, and they were running so fast in that hot tub in the circle that they'd made this giant whirlpool. So all of this made me really appreciate that there are 2 hot tubs in the Serenity adults only area that I really, really enjoyed.
I like the Serenity area a lot. That's where we went every single day when we went to the pool. Was the Serenity. It was a nice layout. It was a good bar, and had the 2 hot tubs, plenty of places to lay out. Actually went all the way around the bow of the ship. There are 2 pool areas that you have to pay some extra money to get into. One of those is the Habana cabins. They have their own pool down on deck 8 that you can get to if you're staying in one of those Habana cabins, whether it's inside or an outside cabin. You can still go to that pool. And then they have the area at Loft 19, very at the top, and you have to pay a day or per cruise rate to get up to there. And then that's a very secluded area that you can just hang out in. Note that neither one of those are adults only, though. You can have kiddos running around in the Habana pools or up in Loft 19. Only the Serenity is adults only.
Our next topic is kids' friendliness, and Carnival prides themselves in being the fun ship for families. Besides the pools, Carnival offers dive-in movies. They have amazing water slides and a terrific water program called Waterworks for your young ones, and a pretty good miniature golf course. I really liked this one and loved it was for free. But my favorite things that they offered was the ropes course. This is a fabulous rope course that has, different options you can take, and it even has a zip line in it. It's, a lot of fun. All you have to do is meet the height requirement. They have a terrific sports core with pickleball, of course, and lots of kids programs. You can also ride the first roller coaster at sea, the Bolt. Of course, Carnival is charging a fee for that one. It's been a long time since we've had children on a Carnival ship, but when we did, our kids really did enjoy it. Next, we're going to touch base on our cabin. We really liked our cabin. It wasn't the most gorgeous cabin I've ever stayed in, but it really was well laid out, and it had really uplifting, fun colors. I love that about it. And it had everything that you could need in a cabin, except for hair conditioner.
I enjoyed the cabin. Like you said, the desk was long, it was really good. The bed was comfy, slept well at night. I liked it that it had a glass shower door on a Carnival ship. I was surprised when I got to the cabin and saw that, I got to admit. And the storage was reasonable. It was good for a 7-day cruise. If you're going to be on a longer cruise, you're probably going to be a little packed in there in terms of storage. But we'll have another video coming out about the whole cabin tour on that too. So be sure to check that out. We'll have a link to that above when that gets released.
And the most important thing about your ship cabin is the service. Yeah. And our cabin steward was amazing. He was so terrific, took such good care of us, and I absolutely loved the cute little towel animals he would leave.
I was quite impressed with him. He was top notch. I mean, for a non-premium line, he did an outstanding job as a cabin steward. I was quite impressed with him.
Yeah, and he does come just once a day as per Carnival standards.
The next topic is guest services, and for us, this is probably the low part of the whole cruise. They were not very good. They would not answer the phone if you called. It would just ring and ring and ring, and then if it did get picked up, you just got the same elevator music for the next 5 or 10 minutes until you decide to hang up. Nobody would ever come on the phone. And you get down to the area down there at the desk, and there was always a huge line right there to wait to get in and get your whole thing, your issue resolved. So we found that very frustrating in dealing with guest services, that they just were not that hands-on and very good with resolving your issue.
Yeah, and we just thought they just didn't have the right tone and friendliness that you're used to at a guest service from any corporation.
Yep.
No discussion about cruising is complete without talking about the food. There were some terrific food surprises on Carnival. We really loved Shaq's Big Chicken and Guy's Burger. They were terrific.
The main dining room, they had 2 on board. They had the Atlantic dining room and the Pacific dining room. We ate in the Pacific dining room. The food there was good. I mean, the meat was always cooked to the right temperature, whether it was a filet or a prime rib, and they even had a lobster night.
I was very excited that we had filet mignon, beef Wellington, prime rib, and lobster, and we'd only eaten there 3 nights. We ate at most the specialty dining restaurants, and we had mixed reviews. In fact, this is just such a big topic that we're going to do a whole separate video on the free food and specialty dining aboard the Carnival Jubilee. So please subscribe so you can see that later.
Next up, let's talk about all the service in the various dining rooms. And for us, Rudy's and the sushi restaurant had good service within the dining rooms. However, the other ones, whether it's main dining or the other specialty restaurants we tried, just were not that good a service at all.
Dining aboard the Jubilee is such a big subject that we are going to do an entirely another video on this, on both the free restaurants and the specialty restaurants. And boy, we had some big surprises while on this ship. So stay tuned for this video coming up. Entertainment. Boy, Carnival prides themselves on entertainment. And they do have so many different things going on every night. I loved that there were so many different options.
There was a lot happening every single night on that ship. And one of the things Carnival is really known for are the comedy clubs. And every night on board the ship, they had 2 comedians on board doing several shows each night, and then they'd switch those out halfway through the cruise. They had their own venue just for the comedians, and it was so popular, the line outside of it would get so long for people wanting to get in. I saw the line, and I thought it went into a different club, a different bar, and I said, is this the line for that bar? No, this is the line for the comedy club, so I just went in that bar. But it was really popular on board that ship.
Yes, be sure to get into the shows early so you can get a seat. Every night they offered these great theater shows and family shows and music options, and I thought the cruise director had such a wonderful personality. My very favorite thing on the cruise was the 80s rock and glow party. I thought that was such a blast. That whole deck just was alive with people having a great time.
That was probably the only time I enjoyed the disc jockey on the whole trip, because he played some classic rock right there. The rest of the trip, I got to admit, I was a little disappointed with the disc jockey in terms of the music selection, and then just finding places to dance too was really frustrating for us. One place that led into that was they had a rock and roll band in the back of the barbecue joint, and so they had like 25 seats. You could watch the band in a little tiny dance floor, or you could sit elsewhere in the barbecue and not really see the band, and I was frustrated about that. It wasn't a better venue for that type of band.
I was also disappointed that the band was supposed to play different musics different nights. And when I showed up for rock and roll things, I was very disappointed when they played a lot of country. We did love Piano Bar 88. The musician there is so talented and a lot of fun. The bartenders are just top notch. So we really enjoyed our evenings when we went there, but you've got to get there super early to get a seat.
The casino on this ship was huge, and it was interesting. I found that they had a non-smoking casino and a smoking casino, and I'm not sure really how that's paired out, because there was no barrier between the 2 casinos. So the smoke just went into the non-smoking casino, so it was all smoky. But it is also very, very crowded. I mean, at nighttime, it was hard to walk through the casino. Every slot machine was full. So it's doing Carnival a lot of money right there in terms of revenue. And the table limits were also all very high, with $25 craps and $25 blackjack.
Yes, I was super surprised on that the gambling prices here, the limits were higher than those on most premium lines.
Yes, I was very surprised about that.
Let's touch base on the spa. So the spa on this ship is very typical to what you'll see on cruise lines. And I got the opportunity to enjoy a few massages. If you have the time, the spa is a great splurge. As promised, now we're going to talk if any of our fears were confirmed. And one of our biggest fears had been around, will there be tremendously long lines and a lot of disorganization, which is top of the line for things that I really hate. And we were so relieved. Once we got on the ship, like there's a few lines where like Shaq's Big Chicken, but they move super fast. They're very organized. It wasn't stressful at all. Now the elevator lobbies, they tended to be a little busy and the elevators were slower than what we'd liked. But all in all, the lines weren't bad aboard the Carnival ship.
On the elevators, I think their business model is have half the elevators out of business at any given time, because the elevator was sometimes ridiculous in terms of how long you had to wait and how many elevators came by packed because everybody was waiting. One thing we were concerned about was the cleanliness on the ship, and there was people cleaning the ship a lot. You know, you could see people out there, you know, rubbing down the handrails and the stair rails and all that stuff all the time, and the trash is usually picked up. There's a couple things that really got me about it. One was they didn't have any hand sanitizer going into any of the restaurants, but they did have a lot of hand washing stations by the restaurants, but then they didn't have anybody reminding anybody to use the hand washing stations. So then a lot of the hand washing stations went unused. The other thing I found really bad about the ship was Carnival. I'd never really seen this much before. It was very trendy, it seems like, to take food back to your cabin from the buffet or from the dining room. You'd see people carrying food out, and they would go eat in the room, which is fine. I'm completely down with that. What I don't need is the seafood feast, leftover shells and everything sitting out in the hallway overnight where it's quite ripe the next morning when you're walking out to go get on your shore excursion. They could do a better job with keeping things clean in that fashion.
Yeah, I guess they need some late night attendants coming through to clean everything out of the hallways, because that did seem to be a thing of a lot of empty containers that showed up sometime after midnight.
Yeah.
So the next concern would, would we see any fights or would we ever feel unsafe? And this was such a relief. There was not any issues that we saw whatsoever. We always felt perfectly safe. People were very friendly on the ship. We had such a nice time. And Carnival had lots of security so that if anything did break out, it should be quickly resolved. So Jeff, would you cruise Carnival again?
Well, that's a great question. If you'd asked me that question 2 years ago, I'd say no. But after a cruise on the Jubilee here recently out of Galveston, I'd say yes, I would do them again, but I'm very much focused on itineraries no matter what cruise I'm picking. One thing Carnival offers out of Galveston are some 2-week cruises that get to the Eastern Caribbean, so you get over St. Thomas, St. Martin, some of the places like that, and get out of that Western Caribbean dilemma that all Galveston cruises seem to have. And I think I would try one of those at some point. So Becky, how about you? Would you cruise on Carnival again?
I would absolutely cruise on Carnival again. I love how easy it is to cruise out of Galveston, and I adored that Serenity adults only section. Yeah. I like the shade, the bar, fun people to meet, and just love that. And I absolutely adored the ropes course. So yes, I would cruise Carnival again. The port of Galveston has so many cruise ships that come out of it, and it's getting bigger and there's more options every day. Yeah. So we're going to do some comparison videos. So if you're cruising out of Galveston, well, or any port for that matter, you can consider which cruise line is best for you. And we'll be coming out probably in the near future with Carnival versus MSC, as they're both thought of as both very economical brands, and they both have some different pluses and minuses. We hope you've enjoyed this video.
Subscribe right now so you don't miss any of this critical cruise information we're going to be issuing on Carnival and the comparison that we mentioned to MSC. And we're just going to be releasing our Antarctica and Patagonia information coming out very shortly. So stay tuned for all that so you stay up to date on all this critical cruise information.
Until next time, have a cruising good time.